The Sopranos is one of the greatest written character studies on a sociopath in TV history, helped in large part from the incredible performance from the late great James Gandolfini, who truly embodies Tony's anger and insecurity.
Fucking money! You're supposed to be earners. That's why you got the top tier positions. So each one of you go out to your people on the street, crack some fucking heads, create some fucking earners out there!
However, there's this thing about people idolising Tony almost like a good, cool person, which is more specifically at the time. The biggest example of this is the finale. The Sopranos finale is one of the most famous in TV history, as it was the accumulation of many plotlines and years of TV into one episode, ending in a rather infamous and to many people unsatisfying way. And the fan reaction was one of sadness and confusion.
Along the streets of Central Florida, it was the talk of the town for many.
I was a little disappointed, you know, I felt like after all these years we were faithful. I don't feel they were faithful to us.
Little disappointed, but I wasn't surprised.
And TV analysts
And the creator David Chase has come out in anger at the fans' reaction at the time in the airing of the finale. Quote, "They wanted to know that Tony was killed. They wanted to see him face down in Linguini, you know? And I just thought, God, you watched this guy for 7 years and I know he's a criminal, but don't tell me you didn't love him in some way. Don't tell me you're not on his side in some way. And now you want to see him killed? You want justice done? You're a criminal after watching this shit for 7 years. That bothered me, yeah." End quote. Which makes total sense from Chase's viewpoint, as we see Tony do some cruel, straight up evil things for the show. Of course, murder many times, adultery, gambling, ruin most people's lives, ruin even the environment, verbally abuse his kids, racism, etc, etc. And the fans had grown affection towards him, but wanted to see him die.
Well, don't forget, I'm a strict Catholic.
This isn't a unique problem in TV, as for example, the writer and creator of The Shield, Sean Ryan, created Kavanagh, a character to kind of question Vic, the show's main character, as a person and kind of the audience as well. However, he was heavily disliked by the audience, and people rooted more for Vic due to being around him for longer. And it's made throughout the show clear there that Tony is not a good person in any way, almost straight up evil by the last 2 seasons. However, there are many reasons, as for David Chase's opinion, as to why people missed the point. First off, I believe the first season, now while mostly uncontrollable, the Sopranos' first season was well ahead of its time, still had a thing which they couldn't control, which was they still kind of had to tone down what the show could show, thus resulting in an episode like College, which is one of the most important in TV history, having to make Fabian Petrillo, the rat Tony kills, was argued between Chase and HBO. Chase eventually won the argument to show the audience how morally grey and complex Tony was as a character as he kills Fabian. However, he was forced to make Petrillo a much more crueler person. And the show's pilot has a much more comedic tone, like Tony chasing a guy down on the street with his car, or Carmela going outside the house with an AK-47. All very funny, however they do make the show seem quite comedic, which it is. However, the first 2 seasons, mainly season 1, which the audience would be the most nostalgic about, thus their like of Tony, as well as the fact he is shown as a much more tragic character in the first 2 seasons, with the presence of his mum and Janice.
Well, look who's decided to join us. And with that breath.
You know, I really don't need that right now, Ma.
Oh, aren't we being sensitive?
However, Chase would make it much more blatantly obvious how bad Tony was in season 3, with his racist attitude and just overall much more crueler mindset, and it's made obvious to the audience, like his relationship and aftermath with Gloria.
And here's the point to remember. My face is the last one you'll see, not Tony's. We understand each other? It won't be cinematic.
However, by then it's too late, and as we can see by the finale reaction, people didn't really get it and felt like they deserved to see Tony get killed, which I think was the correct decision on Chase's part, as we as the audience are almost the ones rather than Tony. And we don't really deserve to see someone which most people root for get killed, in a rather simple and almost boring way. Overall, I think with the show, at the time people kind of missed the point, or just, not just the show but the end, and why it ended that way. Overall, a fabulous ending which people will forever continue to debate about, one of the greatest shows of all time.